The room was colder than I expected, not temperature attention. I remember the chairs more than the people. Sleek, identical, arranged in a way that made everyone sit straighter than they meant to. I'd borrowed a blazer from a friend because mine still smelled faintly of last week's coffee spill. I told myself it didn't matter. The numbers were solid. The product worked. This was just a conversation. My brother had insisted on coming. He framed it as support. He always did things like that, insert himself just enough to look helpful, never enough to be accountable. When the first investor asked a technical question, I leaned forward to answer. My brother answered first. Not wrong exactly, just sideways. He simplified. He joked. He turned something precise into something casual. I corrected him gently. He laughed it off and kept talking. I felt the room recalibrate around his confidence. Then one of the investors asked about leadership. My brother shrugged. It's more of a learning project, he said. You know how he is. Big ideas. Still figuring things out. No one asked me anything after that. When the meeting ended early, it wasn't dramatic. Just polite smiles and a comment about revisiting later. A coordinator touched my elbow and guided me toward the door like it was standard procedure. Outside, my brother said I should have let him handle it. That I get tense. That I don't read rooms well. At dinner that night, my parents laughed when I told them. Not cruel laughter. The worst kind, familiar, dismissive. You're useless in the real world, my mother said, still smiling. Grow up already. I didn't argue. I didn't explain what had happened or how. I stood up, took my jacket, and left while they were still talking about dessert. That silence became my habit. I didn't post about the company. I didn't ask for introductions. I stopped bringing it up at family gatherings altogether. When someone asked what I was doing now, I said, working, and let it sit. The early months were small and unglamorous. I worked out of a rented desk with a chair that leaned slightly to the left. I rewrote pitches no one was reading. I learned where my assumptions were weak because strangers pointed them out without softening their voices. Sometimes I wanted to tell my parents about the progress, not for approval, just accuracy. I wanted to correct the version of me that had replaced the real one in their heads. But every time I imagined the conversation, it ended with advice I hadn't asked for or jokes that landed too close to the bone. So I stopped rehearsing it. The company grew the way most things do when no one is watching unevenly. One good contract led to another. A quiet partnership replaced a flashy opportunity I turned down because the terms were wrong. I learned how to say no without apology. Years passed like that. I heard about my family's opinions secondhand. My brother telling people I'd given up on the startup thing. My parents saying it was probably for the best. I didn't correct them. Correcting takes energy. I was using mine elsewhere. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon from a number I didn't recognize. A regulatory agency. Formal, efficient. They were doing due diligence on a new acquisition my company was finalizing. One of the stakeholders had listed my parents' address as a point of contact due to a shared surname. They wanted to confirm ownership and authority. I told them where to send the documents. The meeting that followed wasn't in a pitch room. It was in a conference space designed for decisions that were already mostly made. My parents were there because they'd insisted on coming, to understand what was going on. My brother came too, confident as ever. The official, calm, precise, asked who held controlling interest. I answered. She asked who was authorized to speak on behalf of the company. I answered again. There was a pause, just long enough to register. My brother shifted in his seat. My mother looked at him, then at me, like she was trying to match two images that didn't align. No one raised their voice. No one confronted anyone else. The authority didn't scold or explain. She simply moved on because the structure was clear. Afterward, my father asked why I hadn't told them. I thought about it. Really thought. I didn't think it would change anything, I said. He nodded slowly, like that answer required adjustment. My mother said she was proud of me. It sounded practiced. Not false, just late. I didn't feel the rush people talk about. No triumph. No vindication. Just a settling. Like something heavy I'd been carrying without noticing had been set down. We don't talk about that pitch anymore. Or the laughter. Or the walkout. Those moments didn't get repaired. They got absorbed into the distance we now navigate carefully. I still see my family. I still answer calls. But I decide when and how much. I don't explain my work unless asked directly. I don't offer access as proof of love. What they never understood, and what I never corrected, was that I wasn't waiting for success to show them. I was waiting for the moment when I wouldn't need to.